They say the eyes are the windows to the soul, but mine looked like potatoes with eyelashes. Here's how I fixed that in a week. Hi, I'm Patch, and today I want to talk about eyes. Get it? Because eye is pronounced like I and stuff like that. For the past week, I've been trying to learn to draw eyes. I don't know why I suddenly got this interest, but I did. And for a majority of the week, I drew nothing but eyes. Okay, that's a lie. I drew other stuff. Check on my Instagram in the bio. And I came to the realization that drawing eyes isn't as hard as I thought it was. I am in no way qualified to be giving tutorials to anybody, so this isn't really a tutorial video. It's more so an explanation of tips and advice I use in my process when drawing. Alright, with that out of the way, let's get into it. When drawing eyes, I like to start with spheres. Obviously, I don't really draw spheres in the drawing, but I do like to create a mental image of the spheres. This is because the eyes are, well, spheres themselves. This helps with the easy orientation of the pupils as well as the placement of the eyelids over the eyeballs themselves and whatever angle you're trying to place them in. And it helps to think of the eyelids wrapping themselves around the eyes like a shawarma. A very delicate almond-shaped shawarma. Unlike the eyes, I like to think of my heads as cubes. I'm sure most of you have seen countless videos and books explaining why cubes are an essential part to drawing the human body, and the truth is, they're right. The cube is a really easy way to break down the body parts into their bare essentials. But what does this have to do with drawing eyes? Well, follow Padawans and Jedi Masters of the Vision Court. I present to you the center line, or as I like to call it, the vision, however that part's not important. What the center line does is it helps inform you of where the eye should be placed in the head. A key tip to note is that it's connected to the tip of the ears and thus helps with guiding you in the positioning of that as well. Neat trick, right? This has saved me quite a few times when doing some portrait studies, as weird as it sounds. Always having this line in the head helps me know the orientation of the head when it's not so obvious to me in what I'm drawing. Okay, so since the head itself is a cube, the face is a plain square or triangle, but we don't need most of the face. All we need is a rectangular section, that is the eyes. See, the neat thing about cubes is they are always in perspective. This applies to the itsy bitsy rectangle we have right here. Depending on where the eyes are facing, the perspective of the rectangle will change. For example, when the eyes are facing forward, the rectangle is normal, but when in a 3/4 view, the perspective changes. Also, as the perspective changes, so does the angle of the eyelids. The further from forward facing it is, the steeper the angle of the eyelid goes. So yeah, just think of it as spheres in a rectangle depending on the perspective. Bonus tip I got from watching Blue Biscuit's tutorial on eyes: when you see the spheres together, they kind of resemble an 8. So to make this easy, draw an 8 in perspective. That's actually much simpler and easier than drawing spheres in a rectangle when I think about it. Next thing you have to remember is the face is curved. What? You thought it was a cube? What kind of dumb ones would give you that kind of advice? Unlike the eyes, I like to think of my heads as cubes. My heads as cubes. That's not the point. The point here is the human body isn't just cubes. Cubes are a nice way to simplify and break down what you see. When you add more details to the cube, you eventually get this round lumpy mass that is our faces. Now, unless you're Giga Chad, I doubt your face is perfectly cubical. From some videos I've seen, I know some artists like to start off their drawings with this curved cross. And it does work pretty well. Not only does it help with the position of the eyes, nose and mouth on the face, but it helps you determine the angle of the face before even drawing it. It also helps with this oddity I noticed about drawing eyes from the bottom or top views. See how the eye is curved and not perfectly aligned with the other? That's because it curves. That feels more natural. In this case, it might help to think of the head as a cylinder. I do it sometimes. Don't limit yourself to just cubes. Try everything until you find what works for you. And when talking about the eyes specifically, remember how I said the eyes are spheres? Well, you can use the curved cross on the eyes themselves to determine how steep the curve of the eyelids are. This works especially well if you have a good grasp on the first 3 steps I yapped about. And finally, eye shapes. One cool and interesting fact that should have been obvious to me at the start is that eyes have their unique shapes. And no, I'm not just referring to anime or cartoons. In real life, every eye is shaped in a unique, subtle, distinct way that I could never see before. Maybe it be the slant of the upper eyelid or the curve of the bottom eyelid, but there's always something unique that gives personality to eyes. This key trait is taken to the far extremes in anime and cartoons and give a vivid look into the personalities of the characters. Now, of course, as it is in the name, this ties into shape language, a topic I'm not too familiar with and only have surface knowledge of. But I am aware of the basic shapes and the kinds of personalities they give in art. For instance, brown eyes give more energy and expression to characters. From this, you could easily assume the person is quite lively or outgoing or just innocent. Sharp triangular eyes are mean, violent, or just serious. Blocky square eyes are automatic, almost lifeless. And if you want to go into more anime terms, you have the Surimi and Tarimi. Basically the Step on Me Mommy and I Love Emilia. Well, those are some of the tips I learned. I hope as I develop in the future, I'm able to learn more that will help take my eyes from the current level they're at to the likes of greats like Yoneyama Mai and Sui Ishida. Honestly, some of my favorite artists ever. Again, this isn't a tutorial or me trying to teach you how to do anything. I'm nowhere near capable enough to be giving out any kind of advice like that. Rather, please think of me as your kawaii 45-year-old son living in your basement telling you about this cool new online business I want to try out. Anyway, that's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, subscribe, share and like the video. Most importantly, comment your own tips down below. Let's share them amongst ourselves and help each other develop.